My name is Rachel. For those of you who may not know me, who may be turning in to this right now, welcome to my first ever virtual yoga class. This is going to be Align and Meditate. So I did open this video a couple of minutes early, and I also provided a link off in the description section where you can click on that to help support Balanced Webster Yoga in this trying time. We did close our studio, the brick and mortar. However, we are still offering these classes to the community. So if you are able to, the virtual class pass is only $8, and the link is in the description. So without further ado, I will take a couple minutes to let people tune in, and we'll just kind of take a couple moments to come into our breath. Meditation and yoga really amplifies that yoke and that union of breath to movement, and therefore allows you to become more readily available to accept the stillness that comes with meditation. So we will be flowing for a good 45 minutes, and then at the end of class we will have a 15-minute meditation that I will be guiding for you. So as of right now, we did start a few minutes early. Welcome to everyone who just joined. So this is going to be Align and Meditate. I'm a huge nerd for anatomy, if you don't know me, because I'm also a massage therapist. So Align is more of a slow flow class. It's more of a workshop-y vibe where people are allowed to come and ask questions, which obviously I won't be taking any questions this evening, but I will be guiding you through proper anatomical alignment to get you into these asanas and these poses in a safe environment and a secure environment so that you can feel more comfortable and more courageous to go out into the yoga community and go to flow classes and be safe within your own practices. Once again, this is a practice, and this is actually a really cool it's a cool moment and a cool opportunity for all of you at home to be able to stay focused on your own mat. Because when we get into those environments where there's a whole class of people around us and we may not be the most confident in our practices, then you start to look at other people. So this is a great opportunity to stay focused on your own practice and the movement within your own body. And to start, I will definitely be going over some of the basic vocabulary that you might hear and what that means and how it's reflected within your body. However, I will not be doing the entire practice, so you're not going to be able to watch what I'm doing. You're going to have to use your ears and listen to my verbal cues. And, this is my first type of class like this. It's going to be a learning curve for all of us. So I really appreciate everyone who's tuning in right now. Get your yoga clothes on, get your yoga mat out. We're going to have a very nice, gentle flow for the evening that will be ending with 15 minutes of guided meditation. So let me see here. All right, it's almost 6 o'clock. So once again, for those of you just tuning in right now, if you'd like to click the link in the description, if you're able to purchase the virtual class pass, it's only $8 to help support Balanced Webster through this time. And yeah, so here we go, guys. All right, so just to come into our breath for a couple of moments, take a nice dignified seat. If you would like to sit up on a cushion or a block, that's always an option. Hands can be on your knees or they can come to heart center. Your eyes can be open, your eyes can be closed. Mine will be kind of varying throughout. And yeah, let's just come into a couple moments of stillness here to connect to our breath. So your only job in yoga is to breathe. And it's not about thinking about grocery lists, emergency essential lists, things you have to do around the house while you're in lockdown, anything like that. This is about really focusing on being able to notice your inhales and your exhales. And in yoga, my favorite way to do this is by inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. And by keeping the breath circulating in and out of your nose, you're actually keeping the heat within your body, which allows your muscles to lengthen deeper throughout the course of your practice. So, if you're in a cold space or a warm space, a lukewarm space, it's all the same. Just inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. So, coming into your breath right now, if you'd like to lift your hips up, you can sit on a pillow, or if you have a yoga block, that's always an option, but pillows are a great option since you're all at home in the comfort of your own homes, right? So, wherever you are right now, hands at heart center or hands on your knees, together take a breath in and a long breath out. Noticing these inhales and exhales, not labeling them, not forcing them, just allowing them to be. And maybe as you breathe, you might notice different sensations within your body. Maybe it feels tight or hot, maybe tingly, maybe cold. And just noticing that, not labeling it or spiraling off into why it feels that way. Just breathing into it. And maybe on your exhale, you bring a little bit of softness to that area of tension. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Meditation is a practice and a tool that you can use on your mat and off your mat to help you navigate feelings of anxiety or any kind of stress that you're feeling right now, which I'm sure that we all are. But no matter what you're feeling, no matter where your mind goes, no matter what stories your mind creates, you always have the power to come back to your inhales and your exhales. We call that an anchor in meditation, and there are 3 different types of anchors. I will kind of call to them throughout practice this evening. One of them is the noticing of the inhale and the exhale. The other is the bodily sensations that you're feeling while you're breathing. And another one is sounds around you, environmental sounds. So maybe the furnace beneath you or near you. I'm actually in the basement right now, so it's pretty close for me. Could be a fan. Could be dogs outside. Could be the wind. Could be footsteps on the floor above you. Keep yourself anchored. You have many options. The mind's job is to think, so you have the power to be able to control that. It's one of the only things that we have power over, and you can do that through the practice of meditation. So finding that moment of stillness, whether your hands are at heart center with the thumbs against your chest, or hands on your knees, sitting crisscross applesauce. Take a deep breath in through the nose, and a long exhale out. So, we'll get into some movement now. We'll definitely build some organic heat, and I'll give you a lot of vocabulary that I'll try to incorporate and try to explain as best I can. So once again, I'm a huge anatomy nerd, so there's a lot of vocab, and there's a lot of cues that I will kind of try to inform you all to the best of my ability this evening. And one of the first ones is flexion of the foot. So when I say to flex your feet, that's a flexed foot. If your foot's relaxed, sorry, I'm working with the camera. If your foot's relaxed, it's kind of like, it's kind of there. Flexing the foot actually activates the entire lower leg compartment, the shin up to the knee, and it protects the knee and it protects the calf from any kind of muscle spasms or strains or sprains or anything like that. So when I say flex your feet, that's that activation of the ankle joint, okay? So that's just kind of one of the main ones, and once again, your job in yoga is to link breath to movement. So throughout the course of the rest of the hour, I will be instructing you to inhale, do an action, exhale, another action. So just so you know, those are things to look forward to me cueing throughout the course of the practice. So, whether you're sitting on a pillow or if you're sitting on the ground, you're sitting with your legs crossed right now, and I'm going to back up just a wee bit. So we'll start with some nice gentle twists, and we'll do a bunch of seated stuff, and then we'll work our way up into some flow, maybe a little standing, not sure yet. But once again, use your ears and just try to listen as best as you can to my cues. So we're going to inhale the arms up to frame the head, first and foremost, and we're going to twist to the right. So you're going to twist to the right, take your left hand to the right knee, and the right fingers come down behind your back. Keep your chest tall, your heart space open. Imagine a string at the top of your head that pulls you taller with each inhale. And on every exhale, soften the tops of your shoulders. Take one more deep inhale. And as you exhale, come back through center. Inhale the arms up to frame the head. Exhale over to the left. Right hand to the left knee. Left hand comes behind you. Deep breath in and get tall. Exhale, relax the tops of the shoulders. One more deep inhale in this twist. Exhale, come back forward. Walk your fingertips out in front of you and come into a seated forward fold with your legs crossed. You're just walking your fingertips right out in front of you. And pause there when you start to feel the stretch in your hips and your low back. And you breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. So you're pausing in this nice kind of forward fold with your legs crossed, really getting into the hips. You may feel this in your low back. Activate the core. So when I say activate the core, this is another common cue that you'll hear, and I love giving this example because it always gets a chuckle. So imagine you're at the beach and you see someone super cute walking by, and you go, and you suck that core in because you're like, I look great, everything is great, and that's that core activation we're looking for. Or when you're getting your photo taken, you're sucking it in. That's that core activation. So within every pose, there's always a moment to activate your core. Definitely. So breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. On your next inhale, start to walk your hands back in toward the pelvis, rising up, stacking the shoulders over the hips. Inhale the arms up to frame the head, and on your exhale, relax the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, look up and rise up with your hands. Exhale, lower the hands to heart center. Take the thumbs back to that heart space, resting right against them. You can even activate your core here. You can make this as active or as passive as a practice as you want. Go ahead and extend your legs forward. So straighten your legs both out in front of you. Yep. Put them on the ground, please. And you're going to flex those ankles like we talked about in the beginning of class. So a nice flexion in that ankle joint. So you're like you can put a footprint on the wall in front of you. You're going to inhale those arms up and exhale, bow forward over those extended legs. Staying nice and flexed through those ankles to protect the back of the knee and the calf. Begin to breathe here. This is a very intense first stretch to kind of come into if you haven't been warming up your legs. Breathing in and out. Maybe with every exhale you get a little bit closer. Wherever your hands have come to reach, whether that's the shins, the ankles, or the toes. Breathing into that stretch. This is an entire posterior stretch. So posterior is the back side of the body. So from the back of the head all the way down to the toes. So while you're breathing here, just notice that you're stretching the entire back side of your body, from the backs of your legs, all the way to the back of your neck. One more deep inhale and a full exhale out, really kind of relaxing into this full seated forward fold. And then on the next inhale, rise back up, stacking the shoulders over the hips. Now you're back up in a seated position with your legs fully extended. Bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees open like a book. Bring your hands to your toes. It's like this. You're holding your toes. Inhale, get really tall. Exhale, bow forward. So instead of rounding through the spine and like kind of crouching down in order to get closer to your toes, I want you to really maintain that flat back. And think about bringing the belly button to the big toe. So you inhale, get really tall. Exhale, pull on the toes and bow forward, bringing the belly button to the big toe. So what that does is that actually Maintains that flat back and allows you to be able to breathe easier. When you round through the shoulders, it kind of cramps the rib cage. So, from soles of the feet together, knees open like a book. One more time, crawl right back up, stack the shoulders over the hips. Inhale to get tall through the crown of the head. Exhale, pull the toes and bring the belly button to the big toe. Excuse me. Inhale, rise back up. Take your hands to the outside edges of your knees and close them like a book. Let's build some heat, shall we? We're going to come into boat pose. So, you're going to tense your knees. Your feet are on the floor. You can kind of take your hands to your knees and roll around in little circles and feel that weird bony part of your butt connecting against the floor or your mat. And what that's called is your ischial tuberosity. It's where all of your hamstrings attach. And if you have low back pain of any kind, I guarantee it's either coming from tight hips or tight hamstrings. So, just knowing where your hamstrings attach is just an interesting little tidbit of knowledge that we will definitely touch upon later. So to come into boat pose, we're going to do a little bit of core work here to really kind of build some organic heat. So you're in this nice position where your knees are tented, feet are sealed. You're going to lean back. One at a time, you're going to lift your feet up off of the mat, and they're going to hover. And you're going to come into your boat pose. So, it's going to look something like this. Your hands can come up behind your knees, or they can be up alongside of your legs. And from there, you're going to hold that. So, when we come into boat pose, we get this weird kind of shake. And that shake is the difference between your hip flexors and your abdomen deciding who's going to do the job. So one way to activate your abdomen fully is to open the feet when you're in boat pose. So you're sitting back on your ischial tuberosities, your feet are lifted in the air, your arms are coming up parallel or they're holding the knees underneath. Begin to breathe very, very deeply here. In through the nose and out through the nose. You're holding this pose. Lift the heart up, really spreading those collarbones. Hands are lifted or underneath the knees. The feet are splayed open. If you want to practice closing the feet and then opening the feet, you can feel the difference between what is actually working more. And if you can't, that's totally fine. It's just about the practice and being able to kind of learn the difference between the feelings within each pose, right? So that's a really nice way to get the core more activated. So with those feet nice and open, you're breathing, you're holding. One more deep breath in, and as you exhale, lower the hands down behind your hips with the fingers pointing toward your glutes. Your feet are now back on the ground, and then on your next inhale, you lift the pelvis up. This is called a reverse tabletop. And once you lift the pelvis up, you relax the neck back. A little vulnerable, but a beautiful stretch for the front of the throat space, yeah? On your exhale, slowly lower the hips all the way back down to the earth. Bring your hands back around in front, and we're going to come right back into that. So, tense your knees again. Feet are flat on the floor, and then you can take your hands to your knees, start to sit back, and lift one foot, and then the other. Lift your feet, lift your chest. You can extend the arms or hold underneath the knees. Start to breathe. You can open your feet to activate that core. Lift through the heart space, spreading the collarbones. You can practice closing the feet or opening the feet. If you would like to intensify, I invite you to inhale the arms up to frame the head. Exhale, sweep them down to the right. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale down to the left. Inhale the arms up. Get a little taller through the chest. Lift the feet a little taller. Exhale, release the hands down behind you. Fingers pointing toward the glutes. Your feet are now back on the ground. On your next inhale, you lift the hips and the pelvis up. Relax the throat space back for that reverse tabletop. And then on your exhale, you slowly lower the hips back down. Awesome sauce. So, your feet are back on the ground. Let's take the legs nice and wide off of the mat. So kind of like a split. Like super big V, right? You have that nice flexion through the ankles that we talked about. So instead of an ankle like this, it's flex, footprints against the walls next to you. Inhale the arms up to frame the head. Exhale, bow forward and crawl the fingertips right back out. We did this a little bit earlier, but our legs were crisscrossed. Now you're doing a little bit of a middle split. And you pause wherever you feel this in your inner thighs. Could be in your hip crease, could be in your inner thighs. You could feel this in your hips and your low back. Wherever you start to feel it, listen to your body and stop there and begin to breathe. With your fingertips extended out in front of you, arms are nice and long. Try not to round through the chest, draw the shoulders away from the ears. You can even activate the core here by doing that nice little suck-in motion. Nice flexed ankles. This is a nice deep hip stretch, very, very deep in the adductors. If you know anything about Chinese medicine, the liver meridian actually lives in the inner thighs. So, St. Patrick's Day, so there you go. A little attention to your liver as well. On an inhale, start to crawl your fingertips back in toward the pelvis, stacking the shoulders back over the hips. Fantastic. All right, sweet. All right, so let's get up and let's build a little bit more heat, getting into some more flow now that we've done a lot of the groundwork. Oh, we're going to do one more. We're going to do a side stretch. So bring your legs back to crisscross, and you're going to inhale the arms up to frame the head. You're going to lower the right fingertips down toward the ground, and with the right hand still, or with the left arm still extended, you're going to lean to the right, get a nice side body stretch in the left. You can look up toward the ceiling. Let's inhale back up through center, bring the left fingertips down toward the ground, raise the right arm up, and then bend through the left elbow, and get into that right side stretch. Inhale back up, lowering the right hand down. Let's do that one more time. So with your legs nice and crisscrossed, inhale both arms up to frame the head. Exhale. At the same time, you lower the right hand down and lean to the right, bending through that right elbow if you want to get more intense into this side stretch. Inhale back up through center. Swap the hands. Left hand comes to the ground. Right hand comes over the ear. You can look up toward the ceiling. Inhale back up. Both arms come up to frame the head. Exhale, lower the hands down to heart center. Okay. Go ahead and swing your legs around. We're going to come into tabletop. So your hands, excuse me, your hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Your wrists are under your shoulders, and your knees are under your hips. You have a nice flat back. Instead of looking directly in between your hands, choose a spot that's just a couple inches in front of your fingertips to maintain a nice alignment within the neck, yeah? Nice neutral neck. We're going to come into some cat-cows here. So, hands are really, really pressed right into the mat. You're spreading all 10 fingers to activate full arm activation. And on an inhale, you're going to lift the heart and tilt the tailbone up. And on the exhale, you push the mat away from you and round through the spine, drawing the navel right up against the spine. Inhale, lift the heart, tip the tailbone. Exhale, push the mat away from you, round through the spine, getting into the inner rib muscles. To your own breath, continue this flow. Inhaling to lift, spreading the collarbones. Exhale to round and push. You might come into a couple of C curves here. So you come back to a nice neutral spine. You can look over the right shoulder toward the right toes and pause. And on an inhale, you come back through center, and then you can look over to the left toward the left toes. And then you inhale, come back through center. So you can go back through these C curves, which gets right into that side body stretch that we just did before we came into this tabletop position. Those muscles are called your intercostals, and they actually help you to breathe. So, if you feel like when you do any kind of yoga or physical activity that your breath is restricted, that's why stretching is so important, is so that you can get these muscles more lubricated with oxygen and with new blood flow in order to allow them to stretch deeper and to lengthen more. And that's obviously very important when they're in between your rib cage, because you want that rib cage to get as large as possible to take the deepest breath that you can. So, going through those C curves, right to left, maybe even coming back to your cat-cows, inhaling to lift, exhale to push and round. Come back to a nice neutral neck alignment, coming back to stillness here. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, send them on back to down dog. This may be your first down dog of the day, this may be your 15th down dog of the day. Whichever it is, you can pedal out the feet or you can stay there in stillness. Nod the head yes, shake it no, releasing any tension within the neck. Take a deep breath in, sending that breath right up the backs of your legs, and on your exhale, relax the space in between your shoulder blades on your back. Push through the armpits to get a little bit more lift. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump your feet to your hands. Now you're in a forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Pause, and then you exhale to release. Inhale, sweep the arms up to frame the head, rising all the way up. Swan dive right on down on your exhale to come back into your forward fold. Inhale up for your halfway lift. Exhale and release. Plant your hands on the mat. Step back to an upward push-up position. This is called plank pose. In plank pose, your wrists are stacked underneath your shoulders, and you want your ankles to be, your heels really, to be directly over your toes. So it feels like you could almost like tilt forward off of your toes. It's almost like a weird imbalance. To get that balance back and to feel that core strength, you, once again, suck in that core, inhaling deep to really lift the hips. If you feel like your hips and your low back are sagging, you inhale through the core to lift that up. So you're holding this plank position. On your exhale, bend the elbows in toward the side bodies and lower all of the way down to the mat. Untuck the toes when you arrive. On your inhale, lift up very little bit for that little baby cobra. Exhale to release. This time I want you to really push the tops of the feet into the mat. Inhale up for another little baby cobra. It's a very small little back bend. Exhale, release again. Tuck the toes. Push up through hands and knees or through plank. Send the hips back and you're back in your down dog. So that's called a sun A. We do those a lot to build heat in the beginning of a flow class. So we're going to take you through a couple more of those, and then we'll see what else they're going to do. So from your down dog right now, you can pedal out the feet, you can be there in stillness. Inhale up to the tippy toes, look in between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Now you're up there in your forward fold. Inhale up for that halfway lift. Exhale to release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms up overhead and sit right back to chair. Fake chair. We're going to do a little bit more here. So, sitting the hips right back into a fake invisible chair or couch. This is where your arms can be up overhead. And if this is too much on your shoulders, you can exhale and relax the arms down to what's called goalie post or cactus or goddess arms. You can even bring your hands to heart center. So wherever your arms are right now, you are sitting back into an invisible chair. There's a generous bend in the knees, almost like really as if you were sitting back into a chair. Stay nice and light through all 10 toes. Engage that core, suck it in. It's almost beach weather, so suck it in. Engaging that core, preparing it for what's to come in the summer. One more deep inhale, get tall through the crown of the head. Exhale, forward fold, straighten the legs, pour it all out, back in your forward fold. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Plant the hands, step back to upper push-up position, and begin to hold. Wrists are stacked under the shoulders, and your heels are over the toes. Breathing in through the core, lifting the hips. Begin to bend the elbows on the exhale, lowering all of the way down to the mat. Untuck the toes when you arrive. Slowly, when you're ready, inhale up, drawing the collarbones apart for that baby little back bend. Exhale to release. Tuck the toes, push up through hands and knees or through plank. Send the hips back. Now you're back in down dog. We're going to do one more of those. So, inhale up to those tippy toes. Look in between the hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands at the top of the mat. In your forward fold, take one full inhale and a full deep exhale. Next inhale, come up for that halfway lift. Hands can fly back behind you, or your fingertips can come to the tops of your thighs to maintain that flat back. Head extended. Exhale to release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms up. Look up toward your fingertips, maybe a little mini back bend. Bring the hands down through heart center. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Inhale up for that halfway lift. Exhale and release. Plant the hands. Step it on back to upper push-up position. Holding it, engaging through the core. Yeah? On your next exhale, bend the elbows in toward the side bodies and lower all of the way down in one piece. Untuck the toes when you arrive. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Full leg activation. And then inhale, lift the chest and the collarbones. It's such a small, minute movement. Smaller than most of us think. And then exhale, release. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, send it on back. You're back in your down dog. Awesome. Hopefully you've got a little bit of organic heat that's being built from that constant flow. And on an inhale, so you're in your down dog right now. So on your inhale, raise your right leg to hip height. Really flex through that ankle joint as if you could put a footprint on the back wall. Look in between your hands. And on your exhale, bring that foot right on through in between both of your hands at the top of your mat. Now you're in a low lunge position. Lower the back knee down. You can untuck the toes or keep them tucked. Whatever's most comfortable for your knee, really. If you need more cushion under your knee, you can roll your mat over and put that under your knee. So whether your toes are tucked or untucked, you're in this nice low lunge position. On an inhale, you rise up, stacking the shoulders over the hips, raising the arms up overhead. On your exhale, lower the arms down to goalie post and begin to breathe. So this is a modified crescent lunge. So modified means the back knee is down. The full expression would be to lift up off of the back knee. So if that is within your practice and you want to intensify that, please have at it. I just want you all to breathe right here with the shoulders a little bit more relaxed away from the ears, right? So engage that core. Imagine I were behind you right now with a string, so your right leg is forward. So imagine I was behind you with a string coming out of the back of your right hip. Pull that right hip back. Excuse me. It's called squaring your hips toward the front of the room. Inhale. Breathe in, get tall to the crown of the head. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. Step the right foot back to meet the left. You're back in your plank position. So shoulders are under wrists. Your heels are right above the toes. You're engaging your core, lifting those hips. No banana backing, no exaggerated low back curve. On your exhale, lower down in one piece to the mat. Untuck the toes when you arrive. On an inhale, lift the heart, spread the collarbones. Exhale to release. Tuck the toes. Send the hips back. Now we're back in down dog. Nod the head yes and shake it no. On an inhale, come up to both tippy toes. Exhale, lower the heels, maybe getting a little bit closer to the earth. On an inhale, rise the left leg to hip height. Focus on internal rotation, which means pointing the toes and the knee toward the ground. That's spiraling the inner thigh up toward the ceiling at the same time as you're pointing your toes and your knee joint toward the ground. Flexing through that back left ankle joint as if you could put a footprint on the wall. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, bring the left leg all the way through and place it in between your hands at the top of the mat. Lower the back knee down. Keep the toes tucked or untucked. And when your base is ready, you inhale and rise all the way up. On your exhale, you lower the arms down. Let's talk about the knee really quick while you're here. So that front knee, which is your left knee right now, should be at a 90-degree angle with the knee stacked directly over the ankle. It could be caving in a little bit over the big toe, or it could be winging out over the pinky toe. So take a moment and look down at your front left knee and make sure that it is stacked directly over the ankle and then it's not caving in or winging out. Let's engage that core. Pull the left front hip back, squaring the hips to the front of the room. If you want to feel the action of that, bring your hands to your hips and pull the left hip back. Then you'll feel that squared toward the front of the room. You can keep those there. Engage through the core. On an inhale, get tall through the crown of the head. Exhale, soften the space on the tops of your shoulders. Relax them away from your ears, even though your hands are on your hips. Sometimes we always go like this. It's a common repetitive strain injury that we always have, whether it's from driving or from typing or from holding a phone or a purse like up towards your ear. So that's why we always cue to relax the shoulders away from the ears and draw the shoulders back down onto the back. Inhale the arms, release the hips and lift them up toward the ceiling. Maybe look up, cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. Step the back foot up to meet the front. Now you're back in your forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Fly the arms back or bring the fingertips to the top of the thighs. Exhale to release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms up. Sit the hips right back into chair as if you were sitting into an invisible chair behind you. You may lower the arms down to goddess. You may take them to heart center. You could even hold your hips. If you'd like to intensify here, you may always come up to the tippy toes. Otherwise, let's engage that core again, yeah? This really protects the low back. Whenever you engage the core in yoga, you're protecting the low back from an exaggerated lumbar curve. So, you're breathing here with whatever arm variation you so choose. And you're engaging your core. You're feeling your thighs burn. One more deep inhale. Get tall to the crown of the head. Exhale, straighten the legs and forward fold over them. Inhale up for that halfway lift. And exhale, release. Plant the hands. Step it on back to upper push-up position. And this is what's called a flow. This is where you flow through your vinyasa. And that's that plank position. Lowering down on an exhale. Really making sure that the elbows are tucking right in toward the side bodies. You want to feel them scraping along the side bodies as you lower. When you reach the mat in one piece, untuck the toes. Inhale, lift the chest. Spread the collarbones for a baby cobra. Exhale and release. Tuck the toes. Send the hips right on back, whether it's through hands and knees or through plank. And we're back in our down dog. So that is something that you can do on a regular basis to warm yourself up before a workout or to even cool down. So we have a couple more minutes and then we're going to get into the meditation portion. So as of right now, I would like you to, you're down in your down dog right now. So on an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump your feet to your hands. Once you're back in that forward fold at the top of your mat, heel toe the feet out past hip distance to the outer edges of your mat. Grab opposite elbows and go ahead and sway. This is called ragdoll. And when you're swaying here, you're going to bend the knees very generously. This is a wonderful release for your low back. And just sway back and forth. Or if the stillness is better suited for you at this time, please listen to your body and just stay still in this wide-legged forward fold kind of. So, whether you're swaying or whether you're still, let's all come back to stillness. Release the hands, bring the fingertips to the mat. Heel toe the feet back in underneath your hips. And one great way to measure hip distance when you're at the top of your mat is to have your feet and then you take one foot and if you can bend it inward and tickle the inner arch of the other foot, that is the measurement of hips distance apart. So there's a fun little tidbit for you. Okay, so in that forward fold, you're going to inhale up for that halfway lift. Exhale and release. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep the arms up. One more chair. Why not? Sit the hips right back into chair. Lower the arms on the exhale down into these nice cactus arms. I just got back from the desert recently, so I'm obsessed with the cactus verbiage. So, let's engage through that core. Really suck it in. It protects your low back. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Check in with the jaw. Bring the tip of the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. And on your next exhale, relax the space between your eyes. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Spread those fingers. You may just have like relaxed hands right now. Really spread those fingers. And what that does is it activates all of the muscles within your forearms and the rest of your arm to make sure that you're actually getting more of an active stretch throughout the body. And it also protects other muscle groups from having any strains or sprains or spasms. So, inhale, raise the arms up, maybe looking up, and exhale, forward fold. And when you do that, you straighten the legs to come back into that forward fold over the legs. Inhale up for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Plant the hands, one more flow. Step your feet back to upper push-up position. Hold this. Let's build a little bit of heat here. So your wrists are stacked directly over your shoulders. Your heels are stacked over your toes. Engage through the core. Lift the hips. Push up, spread through the collarbones. You're looking a couple of inches in front of your fingertips. On your next exhale, bend the elbows into the side bodies, lower down in one piece toward the mat. Untuck the toes when you arrive. Inhale up, spread the collarbones, lifting for that little baby cobra. Exhale and release. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, send it right on back to your final down dog. Nod the head yes, shake it no. On an inhale, come up to both tippy toes. And on your exhale, you're going to lower both heels toward the left. So you're coming to the outer edge and the inner arch. And you breathe here. Really lift the hips. You'll get right into that side body again. On an inhale, come back up through center, both heels back up. And on your exhale, you make them go to the right. So it's the inner arch and the outer edge of the foot going to the right. Inhale, back up through center. So both heels are up. And on your exhale, you lower both heels toward the earth. On an inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or jump your feet to hands. And begin to lower down to a seat. Go ahead and extend both of your legs back out in front of you again. So you have nice, fully extended legs. Your heels are flexed. You can put footprints on the wall in front of you. Inhale the arms up to frame the head. And exhale, forward fold over both of those extended legs. This might feel a little bit easier than it did in the beginning of the practice. And that's because you're breathing in through your nose and out through your nose, keeping that heat within the body, allowing the muscles to lengthen and stretch deeper as you go through this hour of movement. So you're extended over those legs, getting a full posterior stretch, the back of your body from the back of the head and neck all the way down to your feet, the entire back side of your body. It's a seated forward fold. So continue to breathe here. Maybe with every exhale you get a little closer, whether your hands have come to the tops of your thighs, your shins, or your ankles, wherever that is for you right now, that is the expression that your body needs. As long as you're feeling it somewhere within your body, that's all that matters. And you breathe into that, and wherever your body feels the tightest in the seated forward fold, on your exhale you bring a little bit of softness to that area. On an inhale, let's rise back up, stacking the shoulders over the hips. So you're back in a seated position with your legs fully extended out in front of you. I want you to inhale, bring the arms up parallel over the legs, tuck the tailbone, and start to lower down all of the way to the mat. Taking your time, it's almost like a core workout. Go really, really slow. Once your shoulders hit the ground, inhale the arms up overhead. Point the toes toward the front wall in front of you. That's a full body stretch for you. And on your exhale, you relax the arms back down to your sides. Take a moment to rest here. So you're on your backs now. Arms are down along your sides. Your legs are fully extended. I'd like you to slowly roll over to your right side and pause there for a moment. Just kind of relaxing there. And when you're ready, using your hands and arms, push yourself up to a seated position. If you'd like to grab a pillow or a yoga block, anything just to get your hips lifted up above from your knees. So basically the point of doing that is, I want to be able to show you this one. This is kind of important. So when you're seated with your knees higher than your hips, you kind of have to strain to sit up straight, which is a lot on your low back. So if you are seated on a pillow or a cushion, like this guy, that gets your hips above your knees, and there is no strain in the back. It's just perfectly stacked. Your spine is naturally stacked when you're sitting on something. So I will continue to do this for the rest of the practice, because practice to navigate through all of the anxiety-ridden thoughts and feelings that we are definitely all having at this time. It's very trying for everyone, and no one is alone right now. This is definitely very, very intense for all of us. So having this practice, even just sitting for 3 to 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, whatever you can spare, just to be able to anchor yourself back out of the stories that your mind is creating. That's all meditation is. So, for the end of class today, we'll be sitting through a guided meditation, and I will walk you through all of the different anchors. So if you need a seat, grab a pillow, put it under your hips, sit nice and tall, and together we'll take a breath in and a long breath out. Again, a breath in through the nose, and on your exhale, really relax the shoulders away from your ears. Let them melt away from your ears. Your hands can be on your knees. Your hands can come to heart center. Whatever is comfortable for you at this time. And we're going to breathe. If you notice that your mind starts to wander because I'm not giving you constant direction, let's try to tune into some of the different anchors that you can use in meditation. There are 3. You can focus on your inhales and your exhales, in through the nose, out through the nose. You're not labeling them, you're not forcing them, just noticing the intake of air and the exhale. Another anchor that you can use is bodily sensation. So as you're breathing, you can notice where you're holding tension in your body. It might feel hot, tight, tingly, maybe a pull, could feel stabby. There's a slew of different vocabulary to describe different sensations within the body. So you can notice those. And on your inhale, you breathe into that. And on your exhale, try to bring a little bit of softness to that area that you're feeling. Third anchor that you can use are the sounds around you. Not necessarily labeling them, but certainly noticing the sounds around you. So whether it's your furnace or some birds outside, some dogs outside, footsteps in the house around you, just noticing all the different sounds around you, anything to keep your mind from spiraling in on the stories and the different thoughts and the different feelings that I know we're all feeling right now. Meditation is a way to navigate these feelings that we're all feeling, because it's the only thing that we can actually control, is what our mind does. And you can do that through breathing. You can do that through sitting with the feelings. Sometimes it's not comfortable, and that's okay. Come back to your breath, the bodily sensations, and the sounds around you. Maybe check in with the jaw. Bring the tip of the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. On your next exhale, relax the space between your eyes. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Notice if your mind has wandered. Bring it back to your choice of anchors. If you would like to stay in this seated position, I invite you to do so. If you would like to lay down for the last few minutes of practice, continue focusing on the different anchors that we have spoken about. You can continue to meditate, or you can just relax in Shavasana and let your body take in all of the work that you just did, all of the information that you just received. Shavasana is laying down fully, arms along the side, with the feet just relaxed and spine open, legs fully extended. You have a couple different options here. You may stay seated, or you may lay down. For these last few minutes, it will be in silence. It'll be about 5 minutes, and I will bring you out of it with my voice to end our class. Together, take a breath in and a long sigh out. If you're laying down on your back, start to wiggle your fingers and toes. If you're still seated, wiggle your fingers. Bring your attention back to your limbs and your attention back to the room around you. Together, take a breath in and a long sigh out. If you're on your backs, I invite you to roll over to your right side, and then using your hands and arms, slowly push yourself up to a seated position. Once everyone has reached that seated position, inhale, lift the arms up to frame the head. And exhale, bring the hands down to heart center. Place those thumbs right against your heart space. Spread the fingers, press the palms together. Bow your head to your heart, lift your heart to your head, bringing the two closer together. Thank you so much for everyone who tuned in. It truly means a lot to be doing this work within the community to the best of our abilities right now. And I hope that some of you are able to take something away from this, and I hope that you tune in. I'll be doing this at 9 a.m. tomorrow and 9 a.m. on Thursday as well. They'll be a little bit more upbeat, but same principles. Let's help each other get through this. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. And if you're able to help out contribute, the virtual class pass link is right in the description there. Thank you guys so much for joining me. The light and the truth in me sees that and honors it in each of you. Namaste, everyone.